Hello, 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 test, test, hello. Okay, hello, hello. Okay, now I've pasted the link. I'm going to go open my notes. Well, first I'm going to do the classic week review before opening the notes, so I'm going to just open Google Photos to see how the week was. This week essentially was kinda the same. Well, I was like, damn, is he gonna stream on Twitter today? I don't have Twitter, lol. No, I would just pasted the wrong link. Whoop. Bro, my mouse fails so much. Okay, so last Sunday, starting with last Sunday, week review. I think maybe I mentioned this, but I mentioned it anyway. And yeah, last Sunday there was a fire alarm in my building, so I had to go down, and then we waited out there for like 20-30 minutes. It was kind of cold, but I got a jacket, but I was in my Nike flip flops, although wearing socks, but still it was kind of cold. And I think last Sunday I just did like laundry and such things. Then and I was like making a frittata or kind of omelette, some kind of omelette type deal. And yeah, it while the fire alarm was going, it kind of like remained in the pan, so it like cooked while it was there off the fire, but yeah, kind of on the pan, and I didn't get it to the point that I liked. But yeah, that's what I did. In case you want to know what it looks like. Bloop. But yeah, it was filled with smoked salmon. Then the day after, just a regular class day. I think I had shakshuka, some kind of shakshuka type thing for dinner. That's at least what I have it here. I have just outfit pictures, so I think Monday was kind of a with the Holungstag. We just repeated some things because we had a test Fachgespräch on Wednesday. So yeah, on Monday we went to class and did some kind of homework things or whatever, some kind of exercises and such, and it was fine. Then Tuesday, the day before the test, the teacher couldn't come to class, so he just told us to stay at home, and we just stayed at home. So I have here a lunch picture or a dinner picture or something. This is dinner. And the lunch, I don't have a picture, but maybe it was like leftovers. I think it was leftovers from the day before or something like this. I don't know. And yeah, it was just staying at home. I went out to the terrace. I went for a little walk. I don't think I studied too much. And then on Wednesday, it was the Fachgespräch thing. It was the test. It didn't go great to my standards, but it went fine. I passed 88% or something like this, 88, something percent, which I don't know. I'm not super happy with, but it's like fine. And yeah, then after that test, the test, it was like with a kind of nice test person, Prüfer, with a nice with a nice examinator. Do you say that in English? I don't know. And the questions weren't super hard, but there were like 2 questions, the ones that I failed, that were, I would say, not my fault. Okay, the documents and in class, they were things that we either didn't pay attention at all or were mentioned like super in overview. So I'm not surprised they didn't like stick in my head. But yeah, I guess they are practice for like the next test, the big one. So for things that could actually happen there. Then I could go a little bit into detail. They asked me the things that they asked me that I failed were what to do when the Geschwindigkeitsanzeiger goes kaput. What do you do with the train? And yeah, I didn't know what to do. So I just said something generic like stop and you can't move or something like this. And you actually can move. You stop, you tell the Fahrdienstleiter as always, and then you tell the Betriebszentrale what to do, and they tell you what to do. And if they tell you you can drive as fast as you deem correct, as long as you don't go over the speed limit, and you're pretty sure of that. So it's kind of like actually kind of crazy, right? You can just go, and if you more or less feel like you're not going over the speed limit, you can drive that way. You are allowed to do it, which kind of makes sense, but I didn't know that. And then the other thing that I failed was there is like the wheels in the trains. There are 2 types of wheels. There are ones that are called monoblock, that they are a single piece, and then there are like Bereiftes-Rad. There are wheels that have like a tire. It's metal, but it's like a tire. And the tires that are the ones that are with a tire, they can go. They have like a mark that can go verdreht. It can like spin. It gets like spinned for an amount that is like not allowed. And it's like how can you tell? Because there is like a yellow mark that gets put, and also apparently because of rust. You can tell by the way the rust goes that the wheel is like that. And yeah, I don't recall ever seeing that in class or anything like this. We didn't ever see pictures of this, etc., etc. So, or I don't recall that being in my documents. Maybe it is, but yeah, sad. And then the other question was something that I failed, was something that I did wrong. I didn't remember, and we did actually learn about this. It was like what happens when you get like a Notruf. There is in the radio, the train radio, there is like a blinking light that is red, and that symbol appears also on your screen, and there is a procedure you have to do, and I failed that. It's like I said something like you stop and you continue, you remain stopped, and you actually don't need to remain stopped. You have to go to 40, and then I say then stop, and it's actually not. You have to go to 40, and then you can remain driving Aufsicht. It's called Aufsicht. It's like on site. You just drive basically depending on the conditions, etc., a little bit slower, etc., but you can drive a little bit. And I failed that. So yeah, that one was my fault. This one was my fault because we did do that in class and we actually went over that a couple of times, etc. I just didn't, I guess, study that enough or whatever. So yeah, on the one hand, I am angry with myself for failing that, and on the other hand, I'm kind of like disappointed on the course itself for not being like, I don't know, for make me feel like I'm not prepared to get a 100%, for example, right? So yeah, but I passed, and it's not a bad mark, 88%, but it's still under 90, and I don't like that. So yeah. Then that day after the test, I went to the gym because I was the first one, 8 a.m. So, which is also kind of detrimental a little bit to be the first one, because if you are the next one, you can ask questions to the other people, right? You maybe don't get the same questions, but maybe you get similar ones. So yeah, some people asked me and I don't have a problem replying, etc., but I don't get that advantage, you could say. But the good thing is that I was at 9:30 a.m. or so, I was like done with the day. So I went to the gym, then I went to have Indian food with this classmate that I got kicked out, but is still around until like end of October. He will still be around. So yeah, we went to eat Indian food, and then he said, "I'm going to take you somewhere," and he took me to a Lamborghini dealership that was kind of like far away. But yeah, we saw the dealership, and we saw also the Audi dealership next to it. And we went to a different supermarket, and then I washed my hair that day. And then I have a ton of outfit pictures because I was like trying on clothes at home after the shower. And also played PUBG, I think. If I recall correctly, I played PUBG then. Then Thursday, we were at class again, and we prepared the next day's test. And also talked about the test from the day before and prepared the next day's test, which was a vision test, which is like a lower category of both things. And yeah, next week we have by the way, next week we have the Betriebsklausur, and I said last week, okay, next week I'm going to probably do some stream of like going over exercises or whatever. Fuck that. I don't want. I don't know. I have other topics to talk about. I have other notes, and I'm not going to I don't know, talk about these things or like whatever. So yeah, I'm not going to go over that on stream today. Maybe if I'm super bored next week, or if I like feel like it's beneficial for me or something, maybe I will stream, or like if I feel like it's part of this documenting process, right, of how the Ausbildung is going. I feel like I did make a couple of tests before, a couple of test preparation stream, right? So I feel like maybe I could do one this week as kind of like to get some studying going, and also to get some documentation of how this kind of train driving process is going for my channel whenever I make it, right? But so yeah, maybe I will make a stream one of these days of the week, but not today. Today I want to do some other things. I legit passed a class once because people who were before me told me some of the questions and said he asked everyone these questions. So I knew the exact answer for it, and the examiner was so impressed because no one was able to answer that at that point. Lol. Yeah. That thing happened to me the day before, right? Sorry, the day before. The first test that we did, the first actual Prüfung, the Führerscheinprüfung, that one, I got a 9 out of 10, and a classmate got the same questions that I did, and he got a 100% because he could, like, he obviously had studied and all, and he knew the questions. But that one question that I failed, I told him the answer, right? So once again, me going first is detrimental to me, so sadly. But yeah. I don't know. I also feel like it's better for my nerves to go first. So yeah. So yeah, then Thursday that was it. We did some like Wiederholung and some. He talked about our failures from the day before, and in the Wiederholungsprüfung, in the Übungsprüfung, in the Übungstest, we did an Übungstest, and in that Übungstest, things were like rough, and there were like a lot of different questions, some failures. I still passed that Übungstest. It was like a 78% or something, and that one doesn't count. So I was like, who cares? But yeah, it was like, things can get tough, right? If they want them to get tough, they can get tough. And then Friday, it was this test day, and this test went all right, 97.5%, so decent. This is like kind of like not 100%, so not perfect, but I don't know, satisfied with the questions, right? I had a couple of small failures. One was like a misunderstanding. I misunderstood some, I don't know, I'm not sure what I was. It was like, what signal allows you to go into a train station in welches Signal gilt für Einfahrt vom Gegengleis ins Bahnhof? And it was like, after another one, after SH8, no, after ZS8. Or was it ZS6? I don't know, one of these. It was like basically you get allowed to go into the other side, right, into the Gegengleis, and then you get allowed back into the Bahnhof, and it's like, what signal you get? And I was like, one, and it was a different one basically. And yeah, it was like, I don't know, badly answered by me, badly interpreted, badly answered. And then there was another one where I forgot something like, when this kind of like, when you have to like, one of these railway crossings, when you have to cross them and you have to like secure them yourself, you have to make sure that no one is there and such. There are some occasions where you also have to like take care of your train's security system and such, so that you don't get like a break, so that you don't get a Zwangsbremsung, it's called. And you have to press a key so that doesn't happen. And I forgot to press that key. So it was a small failure because I did everything else right. But yeah, in real life, that would be like, okay, you get an extra emergency braking, and you have to report that to the Fahrdienstleiter, and it's a little bit annoying. So yeah, it is a failure that I did. But it was not like security relevant. It was not. And it was like very little points because the rest of the security parts were good. So in that sense, it was all right. With my last name, I was always pretty much in the middle of the pack when it was alphabetical. In Spain, I was usually kind of number 10 or so, around 10. Even though my last name starts with a D, I was always kind of around 10 because there were a lot of people who had like A, B, C, and other D's surnames, which is interesting. You were like, is it a row? Another one, a line maybe? The examiner, no, it's Abraham Lincoln, sorry. I don't get it. What do you mean? This one was written, by the way. Me too, around 10th from 30-25. I was around 10 from 30 or so. And then yesterday, Saturday, we went to the airport. There is this kind of Flughafen Besucherpark, it's called, and there are technically some like planes that are like in exhibition there, but that part was closed. So there was only like this kind of hill that you have to pay €1 to go above it, and we didn't pay it, so we didn't go above that, and yeah, so it was kind of like a bit annoying, but it was fine. And yeah, I think this example will serve as an example to illustrate what I'm going to talk about today in the topic of the video. But then yesterday I also, I cooked food, knödel. I had like some pre-made knödel, and I cooked them with some sauce like this, with some Sauerkraut and Apfelmus and the knödel. And then for dinner, then I went to the gym and played PUBG and such, and then for dinner I had this knödel again, but with bolognese, some bolognese sauce that I made. Looks a little bit bad because of the pictures, but yeah, I don't like knödel, not gonna lie. The Abraham Lincoln thing was like, what symbol do you get when driving to the stop, or whatever it was. I was just trying to make a joke, but it didn't really come across in text. I also don't like sauerkraut or Apfelmus. Lol. I'm warming up to sauerkraut. When I was a kid, for example, I probably would have said that I don't like it. But now, it's not that bad. It gives that kind of like tang that some food is like missing, right? Without it, these kind of sausages with the knödel would have felt a little bit like too much. I like the colors in autumn, by the way. It's like all... Ooh. So like red and such. Today it's not as sunny. Today it's more cloudy. So I tried to take some pictures today, and it wasn't the same. But I'll try to see if this should have synced. Today I took a lot of pictures. I went outside to go for a walk, and I tried to take a lot of pictures of the colors of the leaves and such. This is me. I tried to get some like green shirt, red leaves, orange leaves in the background type composition. Here with the shoes that are like, that had this orange detail, I was like, okay. And then in general, I tried to like capture this, like orange car, yellow, green. Colors are like, but the light wasn't like too super good, to be honest. You can tell that it's like kind of muted. Plus the camera on my phone is like pretty scheisse, so yeah. Red, white, this kind of red and such leaves, the green. Lamborghini Urus, there was an Lamborghini Urus here. I think on the TV it looks much better, to be honest. I think also the colors on my monitor are pretty shit. It's combining a shit camera with a shit monitor, because on the TV it looks actually much better. The colors look much better, I gotta say. Yeah, actually, yeah, they looks pretty good. On the phone also, for example, it looked pretty decent. Okay, I changed my mind. On the TV, it looks pretty decent. Actually, they look pretty bright. Oh, you can actually tell the oh yeah, you can tell the green in the floor and the red. Okay, I take it back. I actually kind of think that they are good pictures, or that it actually decently captures how it looks. It was mostly my monitor that it's pretty shit. I'd probably also see cool colors on the leaves and such if I was looking up while walking around. I mean, I don't look up. Today, for example, I tried to do that. Today, I tried to look up and I tried to see some buildings. Let me check. I didn't take a picture of the buildings, I don't know why, but I can Google the street. I noticed for the first time a building that is pretty close to me, and I go there like all the time because it's like right by Aldi. Let's look up Aldi. Yeah, this building. Today I was walking over here and I saw this. I noticed this building. I usually go to this street here, so it's kind of like it's like past Aldi and Edeka and such into the parking, and I never go into the parking because I don't have a car, right? And it's this building, and I was like, huh, damn, it actually looks pretty cool, this building. And I was like, whoa, this kind of like corner detail with this kind of foyer type thing, the windows having this round thing up top. I don't know, I thought it looked like a cool building, and I guess I never noticed before. I must have walked this street sometime, but I never. And I think I've noticed this kind of small parts, these small porches I've noticed, right? And the thief garages and such, I do notice them as well. But I hadn't noticed the actual building itself, and I was like, well, it's actually quite pretty. And I was like, yeah, see the details of this kind of like hexagonal type extrusions outside. I was like, damn, it's cool. So yeah, I guess that's interesting, right? Like advantages of looking up while walking. It was actually kind of like quite like that, right? It was like, I should look up. And it kind of like almost instantly or such, I was like, whoa, I hadn't noticed this before. So yeah. And I guess today is October and this is November 22. So it must be like closer to December, and the leaves are already all down. Here the trees are like almost bald. Today, for example, they were looking like much more luscious, you could say. But yeah, on to the switching topics. That was my week today, and today after that walk, I got home. I made lunch. Lunch was same sausages with sauerkraut, which you also wouldn't have liked, with some salad instead of like the noodle, because the noodle are gone. And yeah, it was actually pretty fine. It's pretty filling. I also had dessert, some random shit, some random chocolates that I had, and grapes. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty full. And yeah, after that I was like, okay, I want to stream. Before playing PUBG, I'll stream. So here I am. And as a stream topic, instead of like doing this thing that I had planned, which was kind of preparing the test from next week, from next Friday, I was like, let's just, because during the week I was kind of like feeling sad several days. So I was like, okay, let's vent, or like let's complain, as I usually do on here. I have on my notes a couple of notes about these tests, like the things that I had wrong, some doubts, okay, some things I wanted to check out, some sizes in case I went to the mall and to check some clothes, but I forgot to do that and to go to the mall. Actually, I wanted to go yesterday, but I was like, actually did go to the mall, but quite for a short time, and basically didn't get anything that I wanted. And then another note because of my friend, he had his feet hurt, and he also has like several conditions and such, so he was like telling us about it, and I wrote down what he had to ask ChatGPT. And yeah. Actually, no, I think I mentioned, okay, this thing I mentioned, that this is a note from last week. I mentioned this last week. And yeah, I've also commented a little bit on the failures so yeah, basically the only thing, I have two things that I wrote, 8th of October and yesterday. I'm going to go first with this note that I wrote from the 8th of October. We had a few Kirschblütenbäume, or whatever they are called here, and I never noticed them until someone told me on a walk. I lived here for like 4 years before noticing. Oh, those are like the Japanese ones, right? Sakura or something. Interesting. Yeah, I kind of was like looking at, not sure why, but like spots to take pictures at, because from my window I can see the trees like all red, white, green, and all red, yellow, green, not white. And when the light hits, they look really pretty. So I was like, okay, are there cool photo pictures, like cool picture spots and such? And to me, like this Kirschblütenbäume and such are kind of like pretty picture spots or something like this. Okay, back to the note. So this note I wrote on the 8th of October, so 4 days ago, which was Wednesday. I guess I was kind of sad because of the test, right? After the test, I was like kind of not sad, not sad, but kind of disappointed, I guess. Because of the test, because of the way things are going, and also because of how the hangouts that I do and such, I was kind of like frustrated in general with life. And then at home, I was like watching this YouTube channel. I could show the video, And this YouTube channel, for example, this guy reviews.
You're all saying I never do any big hardcore projects, hey?
Garbage Time. This is his second channel. His main channel is called DunkPods, and he reviews iPods and such. Right? He started reviewing iPods and like modding iPods, and he's funny and such. And then he opened this second channel and he makes things with like he makes projects. He has like car projects, bike projects and such, and it's like pretty cool. And I was like kind of like frustrated in a way because as I have written here, it's like I started noticing small details, right? For example, he's a musician first. Also, he reviews iPods, but he also was a professional musician and worked as a professional musician and such. And when he's imitating the motorcycle sounds, for example, he does the single cylinder bike sound really well. It's like pa 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 pa. But he reproduces it better, right? And it's like you can tell that he knows sounds, right? He can really work with sounds, and he really knows how things sound and how to, I guess, mimic it and such. And it comes out useful or like amusing and such in other contexts, like reproducing motorcycle sound, for example. And in this video, he does that example. So it's like being into music, like being really good at music, and then also into cars has kind of this cool side effect, right? And it reminded me of this other YouTube channel called Ange the Great, or Ange the Great, I don't know. And he had this, or has this YouTube channel, kind of like devlogging his game. And his game was actually pretty crazy, and it was like an engine simulator. And it was like kind of physics based. And the thing is that because it's physics based, everything that comes out of it comes out because of the physics. So for example, the power figures, etc., or the sound that it makes, they are kind of like they come down from this physics based engine thing. So it's like the sounds are actually kind of the result of simulating air going through a tube at a certain frequency, right? And that modifying a little bit some things or like giving it some sounds, etc., are what, setting some parameters, are what ends up making an engine sound. That's why his engines kind of like sound quite realistic. And it's like he knows all this. He knows how to program these games, right? So he knows how to code an engine. Not an engine as in car engine, but he knows how to code like a physics engine, right? For a computer. And then, which is like linear simulations or like, I think it's like I know what it is, right? Because I've studied engineering, so I know what the parts are, but I couldn't make it myself, right? Or at least it would take me like ages, and I'm not good at it or whatever. But I know, for example, that it is like a series of like unidimensional or like 1D models of a tube, for example. It's like there are like, it's like one tube after another simulated basically, and each tube has like a couple of properties, etc. It's like I know the components of it, but it's obviously like difficult to code that and to make that bug free and to like make it good and performant, etc. So he's like a guy who knows a lot about this thing. And then also on top, he knows about engines, right? He knows about car engines in this case. He knows about like layouts of engines, bores, cylinders, like blah 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 blah, right? Air, how it goes in, how it comes out, combustion, blah blah blah, heat, etc. So I'm not showing it, sorry. So it's like he knows a lot of shit, right? And I was like, I don't know, feeling bad about that, right? This is the channel, by the way. I thought I was showing it, but this is it. And for example, adding mechanical sound simulation to my audio engine, right? This audio engine of his physics engine, which is about simulating car engines, is initially essentially he talks about it if you want to hear about it. But the sum up basically is that he did some shortcuts. He took a couple of shortcuts in order to simulate sound, and then he undid the shortcuts, or like kind of like added additional components that make the sounds more realistic, for example. But yeah, from the get-go, this kind of like shortcut version was already like incredibly impressive, right? It's pretty crazy, essentially. And okay, context. Now, after the context is said, what I wanted to actually say, my reflection, and my reflection was like, I'm frustrated, right? I was frustrated because I am not like that, right? I am not like that. I don't know a lot of things about something, about anything really, and yeah, I wrote frustrated because I'm not like that. Will I ever be like that with so many interests? And it's like I have all these fucking interests, all these random interests, but all of them are like kind of not deep enough, I guess, right? I'm not, and I guess not deep enough for things like I mentioned before, of this kind of reproducing sounds so well, because he's a musician, right? He's a musician. He knows how to play music really well, and he's also into cars. And it's like, even though the cars are his second passion or something, right? He knows that much more about cars than me, and he's like so much closer. Maybe not necessarily knows more about me, but he's so much closer to cars because of that. Even though he's his second passion or whatever, he's like so close to cars. He's so much closer to me than cars, even though it's like my main passion. Because he's good at music, he can like get this kind of feel about cars in such a deep way that I can't, even though it's like kind of my primary interest or whatever. And also because he's working on cars and such, right? So he has kind of like this hands-on experience, plus this other side of it that helps bring it that depth, or that, I don't know, kind of like felt knowledge, kind of like sensory knowledge, intuitive knowledge that I don't have. And then this other guy, he's just really like in every measure, he's just like so much better, right? He knows computers so much better, and he also knows engines so much better because of the computers, right? If you can code something, kind of like you understand a lot of things about it, right? If you can code a fucking engine, if you can code a physics engine, you're like, damn, you kind of know physics, right? You have to know a lot of physics equations in order to code the thing, and you have to debug it. You have to know when it's going wrong and when it's going right, and how something right performs, etc., right? And then when you code a car engine inside your physics engine, then you have to know that much about cars. It kind of like forces you to know all of these things, right? Even if he didn't know them beforehand, he now has incorporated them into his blah blah blah, right? And sound also. Then he also adds sound on top of it, right? He knows how sound works. He knows how to generate sounds on a computer. He knows how to make a computer generate sounds. Essentially, that's what he's making, right? He introduces this kind of like sound engine part to his physics engine. So now he can create a model, an object, a physical object inside the computer, a virtual physical object, and make it sound like it would sound kind of in real life, because he knows how sound works. He knows how to generate a wave. He knows frequencies. He knows timbre. He can like calibrate these kind of timbres things or whatever, right? And I'm like, damn, I don't know anything, right? I don't know how to generate any of these things. I don't know how to do anything. And it seems like none of my interests are like overlapping and like coming together in this kind of like flourishing way. You know what I mean? It's like his interest in like cars and in computers or whatever, he was able to make them fit together into this kind of like, whoa, really impressive thing. The other guy as well, right? It's like from his side interest, cool little details emerge, plus he's actually like good at his side interest because he works at it or whatever, and like he's very involved in it and he pays attention to details. And also he has a friend who's into cars and such, and he gets help from him and such. But because also he's like this kind of funny guy and he knows how to make fun, he knows how to make something like working on a trash car fun, right? He brings the fun element into this kind of restoring an old car. I don't know. And I'm like, pfft. And I'm like, and I yesterday and that day, on the 8th of October, I was like, pfft. I don't know what I'm doing, right? I'm not even studying that hard these kind of train things, and I'm getting shit marks like 88%, and I don't know like really deeply this kind of train thing. Plus, I'm just like a fucking driver, which is like, I don't know, it's its own discipline, but it's not. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's not the same as being a musician, for example. It doesn't feel the same. Like being a really pro musician feels like, whoa. Being a really pro programmer or whatever feels like, damn, right? Understanding, feeling, intuiting. Being a really pro train driver, is that even a thing, right? Is there something like an elite train driver? I mean, kind of, right? There, like, when you get into train driving, you can tell who does it well and who does it badly. But it's also like an intuitive thing, right? I don't know. This was one of the things that I wanted to complain about, I guess. This is what I know how to do, right? I know how to complain. This is one of the only things that I know how to do. I know how to rant on YouTube, live streams. But I don't know how to edit well, for example. Then this fucking Ange guy, for example, also he makes the videos, right? So the videos are interesting. They are laid out in interesting ways. The videos are like aesthetic, right? It's like they look good. The software that he made looks good also. And I'm like, okay, I like things. I like several things. I like this. I like music. I like blah, 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 blah. But it's like none of that shows up. I guess that's my main frustration, right? None of that shows up in any ways, right? It's like you can't tell that I like music because I don't play music well or something, right? I'm not good with sound. I can't manipulate sounds, blah, blah, blah. I can't sing well. So it's like, okay, I like music, but I can't also give good music recommendations or whatever. I can't make a good playlist. I can make playlists that I kind of like also, but I'm not like a playlist maker or whatever. I don't listen to my own playlists and I'm like, whoa, that's a good playlist or something like that, right? I don't know. I like cars, but I'm like, I can't recommend you to buy a car and be confident in my decision that it's a good recommendation, right? It's like the way I like cars doesn't seem like useful for anyone, not even for me. Plus, I don't know. Plus, it's not like a very deep way of understanding. It's like, oh, I really understand a car, right? It's like I kind of do understand a car, but also, and I kind of like still learning even more to understand a little bit more. But also, what I complained a couple of things back, when I'm actually driving a car, it's not like I'm elevated, like an elevated driver compared to anyone else, right? I'm just a normal driver. I pay attention to the things that I have to pay attention, and then sometimes I get distracted like everyone else, right? I'm not like Nicky fucking Lauda or whatever. Popometa. That's actually what the teacher said on the when I said the thing that when your Geschwindigkeitsanzeiger goes kaput, that's what you have to use, like the Popometer. Mit Popometer, you can tell how fast you're going, and like Niki Lauda was doing also that in this kind of movie, in the Rush movie, he was like, I can feel it in my butt that your car has like the wheel in the car is like bad. And if, for example, I like fashion or whatever, but you can't tell when you look at me, right? I just look strange, right? Strange at best, and like neutral at most, at worst, I guess. Strange at worst and neutral at best, right? I don't look dashing or like, whoa, that's so stylish, right? No, it's like you can't tell. I like videos, right? But then you look at my videos and you're like, the fuck? This guy likes them. You sure about that? I don't know. I'm frustrated with everything. Next topic. I got tired of this topic. Well, the next topic is actually about frustration. So actually, more of the same thing. Damn, with the Niki Lauda or whatever, I instantly got reminded that some fuck was on the S1 station the other day playing that song way too loudly. Wait, what song? Niki Lauda song. Is there a joke about this? Like, what the heist, the muta from Niki Lauda, Mama Laura? Does that mean anything? Like Mama Lauda? I assume it means something like being drunk as fuck or something like that. But Mama Laura. Mahmal Lauta. Mahmal Laura. Massive Töne. Oh, it's like make it louder. So turn up the music. Ah, Mama Laura. Funny, I guess. I guess it makes sense that the guy was playing it way too loudly, right? If you're playing this song at like minimal volume on your headphones, it's like you're kind of being contrarian to the song. Oh. Behind the beautiful Niki Lauda. How does that genre, is that genre called something like Schlager, or is that not the same? I have a playlist of like, I found this girl, you know the Kaufland ad? Easy Gluck. Easy Gluck. This girl seems to be like singing like this kind of songs that are all like this, right? This Delphine song. These are all songs that are literally about Mallorca, right? About Male. Die Kinder von Male. Das Leben ist eine Party. This Delphine. This song was like so fucking stupid. Male again. About Male again. Oberteil. And half the lyrics are about Male. Party Shalga. Party Shilaga. I think that's the genre called. That's how the genre called. I was listening to some German music the other day, and one song I was really like, Das ist alles von der Kunstfreiheit geklaut. I don't know if you would like it, or even if your German is good enough to know everything he sings about. No idea. I don't understand the title. Das ist alles von der Kunstfreiheit geklaut. Stolen from the freedom of art or something. Das ist alles von der Kunstfreiheit gedeckt. I don't like to play German music because Germans are the worst for like this kind of copyright strikes, right? It's like if plus, because I live in Germany now, they block your video, and if they block it in Germany, I can't watch it myself, right? So but I play it later. Opa. Let's check out the lyrics. Mach mal lauter. Mama lauter. Ist ein aus der Ich-Perspektive geschriebenes Lied des Rappers Dangedan. Tonabnehmer. Goethe-Institut. Wow. Bro, I thought it would have the fucking lyrics or something. Bro, I have so many tabs open. Okay, I'm going to play it later. If I find it in my sea of tabs. But before that, I wanted to... Oops. To go to part 2 of today's topics, which is actually pretty similar. And I guess it was like following this vibe of like... I guess instead of being frustrated with myself, I was kind of like frustrated with the social connections or like the social life or whatever. And I was like kind of thinking like point by point, why am I dissatisfied or something, right? Like that, right? And obviously it's not always the fault of the other person, right? It's many times my fault as well. So in that sense, I guess it is part of also being dissatisfied or something. But yeah, I don't know. I was like trying to reflect on that. And yeah, I guess I was like playing PUBG with one of these friends, right? With them playing PUBG. And normally, yeah. Sometimes I stay longer on Discord, right? I stay longer after we've finished playing. I stay longer and like cook dinner or whatever, right? But it's like, again, I don't know. Sometimes I don't have anything, like many times, I guess most times I just don't have a lot of things to say, right? So I'm not saying a lot of things. And my friend is just talking or something, right? And I guess sometimes, like empty space, like this having empty space or whatever, for me it was fine, right? I was like comfortable with that. I didn't mind. But lately, I've been kind of feeling frustrated and dissatisfied or something, right? It feels like the empty space is like no longer good. Not only for me, right? I feel like that's the vibe I feel, right? Like he's tired also. So I don't know. I was like sad about that. I'm frustrated also. Like I don't know. Sometimes I just don't have things to say, right? I mean, it's kind of ironic to say that in this stream where I've been like talking non-stop for like an hour or so, right? But I don't know, it's different in a conversation, right? Sometimes I just don't have anything to add to some conversation. And I don't have anything to like random to show up, to say or something, or to bring up, right? I don't have anything to bring up. Or like the things that I have to bring up, I don't want to bring them up or something, right? Like the things I would say, I don't want to. And I don't know, I used to feel like, oh, more empty space, like more time just hanging out, etc. is like positive, right? It's like, okay, that's how you get used to like things, and maybe after a while of hanging out, etc., then some things can appear or something, right? But lately, I don't know, I've been feeling like, I don't know, maybe not, right? Who knows? Then another of the friends with whom I play PUBG, for example, he was like, he had an operation. His dad was like operated today or something. I get that. I also feel similar sometimes in your stream. You talk about something, I'm like, yeah, I don't know what to say to that. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I think that's why I stream, right? Because just so I have a place to rant about things that make no sense, right? That are things that I don't expect and a reply to or something, right? That don't have a reply to. That are simply things, right? Also, I feel like many conversations, the way they go, is like, this is outside of this, but in general, right? It's something like, you talk. For example, I say something. Like, let's put it on my perspective. I say something, and then the other person says something else. Sometimes, and like the thing is that many times it's like not even related, right? Or it's like, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of a frustrating energy. I don't know. I don't know. Anyways. And there is no anyways, right? At least when I say something different, I'm like, anyways, right? I'm like, okay, changing topics, something else, right? But I feel like the way conversations go is actually the problem, that there is no anyways. It's simply someone says something and then the other person says something completely unrelated without some kind of anyways, right? It's just like, it's kind of like you're supposed to perceive that it was a reply to what you said, but it's actually not unrelated, right? That's actually what kind of frustrates me about many conversations in general, right? This is not just with my friends here, it's also with my friends in class, or like the way conversations go with random people in like random social scenarios or something, like going, for example, on Oktoberfest, the vibe is kind of like this, right? The people that you meet are kind of like this, right? I don't know, maybe I'm like that as well, right? I'm probably like that as well. I guess it's just hard to listen. I was watching like some Nick Fuentes. You know, Nick Fuentes is like some fucking right wing dude that is like crazy as shit, and I don't know, and like some fucking probably Nazi type shit. It's like he's like so fucking, and he has like this podcast or whatever. But for some reason, the clips of this guy, because Elon Musk owns Twitter now, like these fucking guys' clips are all over, right? And he's pretty funny, to be honest. And his clips are come often in my feed or whatever, right? And I watched some podcast of him or like a couple of other clips, and not to give the Nazi, not to say, okay, the Nazi is right about this, but actually, this guy, about this topic, he's like right, and he says something like, I hate everyone, right? And he's like, I hate people, I don't know what to say, conversations are like difficult for me, and like when I'm talking on stream, I'm just like shouting shit and blah 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 blah. But when it's time to like hang out with someone else, I actually want to connect, etc., and to listen, blah blah blah. And many of the time, most of the time, things don't go that well or whatever. It's like people were trying to find him a girlfriend, like one of these fucking right-wing girlfriends or whatever, and he was like, no, I hate women, blah blah blah. I don't know, and I hate women, and women don't understand me, blah blah blah. And but the way he says it, it's like, I don't know. He says it about women, but I mean it about everyone. Right? And he also says it about everyone. He says like, I have like 5 friends. I don't hang out with anyone. Blah 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 blah. I'm always sitting in my room alone or working. It's like a sad life. It's like you see it and it's like a sad life. But I'm like, I don't know. It's relatable also in a sense. It's like 2 people having conversations at the same time, or more like at the opposite time, talking against each other, not with each other. Yeah, kind of. It's like sometimes not even against. It's not against, as in I'm saying something against you that it's like contradicting what you say or whatever, right? Just to spite you. I have a friend that also does this, not to me but to other people. But yeah, sometimes it's like completely unrelated, right? Like 2 people having conversation. It's like not having conversation. It's like having monologues at the same time, right? It's like if I streamed and you streamed at the same time, but it kind of coincides that the times I speak you don't, and the times you speak I don't, right? Which would be pretty funny actually as a concept for a stream, but for life it's not that funny of a concept. You know what I mean? And actually, what you said about this kind of talking against each other, this is actually another thing that is different from what I was talking about, but also something that annoys me. And from the people that are here in class, there is one person who is a little bit like this, right? Whose every reaction, and I also feel like this all the time, that many people, their way of conversating, not sure if I am different from everyone else or whatever, or because my mom is Japanese, I was raised differently or whatever, but I feel like some people's conversational style is literally just arguing, right? It's saying no to what you said. It's like you say something and they say no, and they say something, right? And I feel like expressions like, I see, in addition, would be like really helpful in some cases, right? Or, interesting point. However, I don't know, that is also saying but. My teacher says a lot, yeah, Abba? Yeah, Abba is kind, blah, 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 or something like this, right? He's like, whenever we say, yeah, Abba, because like people in Spain also seems to do that like really often, right? Like they say no, but, or like, yeah, well, in this case, yeah, Abba is like, yes, but. And he's like, after yeah, there is kind Abba, right? Like, yeah is yeah, Abba is nicht yeah, or something like this. So, I feel like people in Spain, I guess, do it right because they say no, but they say no too much, right? It's like, what do you mean no? It's like I just said an opinion, right? It's not, there is no to that. It's my opinion, right? Or sometimes you even say a fact, right? And then you say a fact and it's like, no, what do you mean no? It's a fact, right? It's like water boils at 100 degrees. No, but there is no but. I mean, for a water boiling at 100 degrees, actually, yes. If you go higher in altitude, it goes low. Water boils at 100 degrees at atmospheric pressure. What? 1 atm. No, but in the Everest, it boils lower than 100 degrees. Okay, but at atmospheric pressure, it boils at 100 degrees. That is a fact, right? That is no but to that. It's simply like that. There is no but. In addition, if you go lower in atmospheric pressure or higher in atmospheric pressure, it boils at a lower or a higher temperature. That is correct. But there is no but to the fucking water boils at 100 degrees atmospheric pressure. It is like that. To that you can only answer, yeah, aber. Yes. And they say it all the time, actually. Actually, the vibes in class, for example, are funny, right? Because the teacher is like playful like that, and he says something like he gets a little bit of like performatively annoyed, and sometimes less performatively annoyed, but yeah, always kind of like playfully and such, right? With a sense of humor, right? He has a sense of humor, and that's important. And the class also has a sense of humor, etc., right? So it's not bad. But then, in actual day-to-day interactions, to me it is annoying. There is like one person who is one of these people who are always kind of like talks back to everything, right? And I don't like that, or like who is always complaining also. Weird to say in this kind of complaining stream, but it's different, right? It's like this is kind of my space to set things out, to set up a context, and to, yeah, I don't know, to talk about human dynamics, blah, 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 right? But it's different than to just be like hanging out, and for everything that happens, there is like bad energy, right? It's like you're driving, and you get angry by every event that happens. Oh, why is this guy blah blah blah, right? Why is this guy in the other car going so slow? Why is he going so fast? Why is blah blah blah? Why did he cut off? And when he cuts you off, it's like right? I don't know. It's like that kind of energy is like a little bit like whoa. Actually, let's chill, right? It's like I don't know. Okay, you got cut off, and it's not like someone goes like vroom, like a BMW goes past you vroom, from the right lane and you have to like brake. No, it's like this guy is like coming in, he signals, click, 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 and comes in, and he's like, whoa, why is this guy? Why didn't he do that earlier? It's like I don't know, bro. He's like just driving. It's like I can see it. I can see the issue, and there are complaints thrown around. So it's like I don't know. It's kind of like confusing to me. There is like one guy who is like a lot like this. So I feel like if I hang out too much with him, I get like this kind of bad energy back to me, right? And he also is the kind of like person to talk back to everything about this, right? So you say something and the default answer is no, but like the atmospheric pressure thing. It's like, oh, yeah, I read the other day that car insurance, blah, blah, blah. No, but. It's like, what do you mean, no, but? I read that. Maybe it's not true, but then you have to formulate that differently, right? And yeah, there are some other people who are like, I don't know. And then the rest of the persons, in general, him included, but that was like just one thing that I feel like grinds me down. But then another thing in addition that is more general to everyone is like that I feel like they are all like temporary people, right? I don't know. I don't feel like anyone is like a forever person. I don't know. I don't want to exaggerate or something like this, and to feel like, oh wow, you have to find your forever people, blah blah blah. But I don't know. It's like getting. It's not that I don't feel this kind of intense, whoa, these are my forever people sensation. No, it's more like I feel a more clear, this is temporary vibes, right? It's like highlighted temporariness of a relationship, right? For example, with my friends from all the time, I don't feel that sensation, right? I feel like we've known each other forever, blah blah blah, right? Meanwhile, from these kind of relationships, I feel like, I don't know, it's just temporary. I think in that case that this is more my fault, right? It's my feeling. My feeling is that it's too temporary. Maybe for them it's just like hanging out or whatever, right? And not thinking about it too hard. But for me, this sense of like, I don't know, it feels like it's too temporary. I don't know. It's not a good sensation, right? And then other relations, other social connections that I'm dissatisfied. For example, Discord. In Discord, I have Discord people with whom I can share more things or whatever. Because with many people in real life, etc., I feel like I can't share many things, right? If you share some things, you get hit with this kind of like no but, right? And it's like, what do you mean no but? I just wanted to say something, right? So it's like if they are saying this kind of no but to like the lamest things ever and like the most menial things ever, imagine if you say something important and they say like no but, what is like, what the fuck do you mean no but, right? I don't want any no buts here. It's like this was something important. So for some things that are important, I have people from Discord or whatever, or people from online that I know, or like this stream, for example. And even still, I feel like I'm dissatisfied, right? I don't know why. It's like it's like too random. For example, I stream only every Sunday or whatever, and it's like 2 hours of the day versus like 5 days a week in class, plus hanging out after class, maybe some days like 2, 3, 4 hours having lunch or something, right? Or like 5 Discord messages every Sunday or every 5 days, a little small back and forth, right? It's just too little interaction, right? So it's like, yeah, I can feel like I can share whatever, but I still hold back because it's like, I don't know, sometimes it's like you just don't want to write a wall of text to someone just random or something like this, right? Just randomly. So I don't know. And then I have here at the end, right, I am too complaining too, right? Because I was talking about this guy who complains too much, and I was like, so to give it a different vibe, it's like, what can I do to fix it? Right? It's like maybe I could talk about what can I do to fix it. I could think about it. What could I do to fix it? And yeah, I don't know. That's the problem, I guess. I don't know what I could do to fix it. I guess one approach could be like try to meet new people or whatever to see if other people could fix some of these things, right? Maybe there are people who are like less temperamental, who are like more chill, or who have like similar interests where you feel like blah blah, right? After all, there are so many people in this world, right? But also, if the problem is in me, right? If it's me, the one who just doesn't feel like they can share whatever, and will always feel like this, then that's just sad, right? And then the thing to fix would be like to fix me, right? To work on myself or whatever. But I don't know, it feels like so annoying to have to work on yourself or whatever. Plus, like, what does that even mean? I don't know. Sometimes I think I'm like cowardly, right? For saving these feelings or whatever, and then saying them on stream randomly on a Sunday afternoon, instead of like, if I'm bothered by someone saying no but, saying what do you mean no but directly, right? But I don't know, I guess I just try to get at the message of the thing, right? If someone says no but and then says something, I try to get at to like what are they trying to say at this moment, right? Instead of like at the form. But the form does grind me. Plus, because of this feeling of like, oh, these are temporary relationships or whatever, and I'm probably not going to, they are not going to last that long, etc. Then it's like, why bother with with making things more difficult, right? With matching this energy in a bad way or whatever. I'm going to grab a glass of water. Ooh. someone told me so often that yes, but is wrong, I get really really annoyed every time I hear it and be instantly mad. The same way I hate it if someone says es heißt ergibt Sinn, Sinn kann man nicht machen. Yeah, my teacher doesn't actually like, well, he does say this kind of like, ja, aber. Es gibt kein ja, aber, or something like that. He does say that often. And I guess this classmate that says all the time, ja, aber, or something like this, does get instantly mad also. I feel like I agree more with the ja, aber hate, though. I don't like the Sinn kann man nicht machen because I think that's wrong or something. I think I was talking to someone about that, and apparently it's like man kann Sinn machen seit 1800 oder so. It's like in fucking Goethe or whatever said macht Sinn or something like that. And if Goethe says that, it's like, who the fuck am I to say ergibt Sinn? I'm not sure if it was Goethe, by the way. Someone like a good writer, apparently. If they say that, it's like, who the fuck am I? But yeah, for the ja, aber, I don't know. I feel like there are ways to be like, to contradict something without being that bad. And I don't know. The expression yeah, but, or like saying no, but doesn't actually like bother me that much. The expression, right? It's more like the attitude. I don't know. Maybe it is just the expression. Maybe some people just talk like that, right? Maybe some people just say blah, 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 and but yeah, those were the topics for today. I think I'm just going to close stream. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a nice week. Hope I have a nice week as well. Next week, I have the Betriebsklausur on Friday, so on Sunday I will probably do a little update about that, how that went. Hope it went well, and maybe during the week I'll do one of these kind of like, what am I studying right now, or reviewing Anki cards stream, something like that. Could be possible, or creating Anki cards. Maybe I should do that, maybe tomorrow. And yeah. If I do one of those streams, I'll paste it. Maybe you're not online, or maybe you are, I don't know. And yeah, that's basically it. My last week was really full. I hope next week is more chill. Oh wow, I didn't ask you how was your week. That's true. If you wanna type it, I'll read it. And yeah, aside from that, thank you for watching and goodbye. I leave it open while I go to peace, and if I read it, then I'll read it, and if not, I'll close. So yeah, bye. I'll type in Discord, I guess. Okay. Then I'll read that later. Bye. Ciao.